Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday evening. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wentz. We've got some severe weather that we're tracking just off towards the west. There's no imminent threat here in northwest Indiana for these, exception being our southern counties. We're going to keep a real close eye on these storms as they move in. But we posted earlier about just the thunder tops. I mean, these things are going up 45,000 feet in the atmosphere. And we're seeing the dark clouds, and we also have the thunder and lightning and now rain that has moved in as those clouds have approached for areas of Lake County. So we've got a little bit to talk about. I want to highlight where these storms are, where they're going right now. And by storms, I mean storm. It's really just one storm that has been a lone wolf traveling along this warm front, but it's a decent storm. It's been putting down hail for about 2.5 hours now. And I do think we have a little bit of a hail threat in portions of northwest Indiana. So we'll dive into that. I'm also going to turn this into a region weather live because we were going to do one tonight anyway. So we'll go a little bit more long term after we get through the short term initially here in your forecast. So hang with us. We're going to run our open here, and then we'll jump into some coverage here on these storms moving into northwest Indiana. And welcome in, everybody. It's Matt Wentz with you here on this Wednesday evening. I hope you guys are doing well. We're warming temperatures up. It's going to be even warmer as we go throughout the overnight as this muggy air kind of moves on in. But it's all coming at a price with some showers and thunderstorms. I mentioned over the last 2 days that these would be on radar just to our north. This one stunk a little bit further south in areas of northern Illinois, and it's been amazing. It's just been riding the warm front all the way since the Rockford area. They've had large hail with this, basically a hailstorm out of this out towards the west. I've got some good news here in the forecast for us here locally. But again, we're still going to get some rain. A lot of you are already seeing rain in Lake and areas of northern Porter County as well. All right. In terms of severe threat, there's nothing right now. It's Kankakee County that's under severe thunderstorm warning, which is on the Illinois side of things. That's where the hail is. And I'll pull up the radar here so you can see it. This is what we're looking at. It's just a lone thunderstorm, but this thing has been a beast. The hail part is right in here, right where you see some of these darker reds. That's where the hail is. So no severe threat for Lake County, no severe threat for Porter or LaPorte County either. We do have some lightning with this, pretty good lightning show. A lot of times, if you guys have been with me long enough, you've learned that warm fronts tend to produce a lot of lightning, and this is along a warm front. This isn't a cold front that's punching in with a line of severe storms or anything like this. This is a storm that is formed along what we call an instability boundary or a gradient. I'll show you that too. But anyway, the storm developed back in areas of northern Illinois, and it's kind of tracked along that warm front. And the warm front's draped just like this through areas of Newton and Jasper County right now. So I expect it to kind of continue in that track. So the good news with this, we don't have a severe threat here locally right now. Where would the severe threat be? It would be in Newton County here over the next half hour to hour. And it would be with this portion of the cell right here, which is a little bit squirrely. I've been keeping my eye on the winds with this as well. There's been some slight areas of rotation within this. Things along warm fronts get a little weird. And the reason why is you have wind coming out of the south, butting up against that front where we've got a different wind direction. In this case, it's out of the northeast. So the wind kind of comes together. You can get some swirl with it, all the good stuff like that. I'm not worried about a tornado threat. All right. I am worried about some hail perhaps moving into Newton County here. All right. If you're in Lake County, though, we'll have to keep an eye pretty much from Lowell south. We could be dealing with a little bit of hail with this as well. Otherwise, it's just rain and lightning from Maryville, US 30 north. I'm not worried about severe. Porter County, LaPorte County, not worried about severe with this at all. It's just rain moving through. But the bigger part of the cell is this part right here that you see moving through Kankakee County with that severe thunderstorm warning. We may see that head into areas of Newton and Jasper County here as we go over the next hour. Okay, so that's what our storm looks like. The good news in terms of this thunderstorm is that there's an instability boundary. So from where the storm is down to the south, there's a real decent amount of instability. And actually, let me show it to you. I'll show you the modeling here in a second, but I want to go back to this because I want to show you some of the some of the numbers here that we're dealing with in terms of how our atmosphere is set up right now. Okay. So here we go. Here's our storm. Here's Indiana. I'm going to throw a couple things on here. I'm going to take that bright color off. Here's your thunderstorm, but I want to throw the instability on here. And I don't know if you can see that well enough, but some of these colors you see the purple line right there. You see how it turns like kind of yellowish orange back here. This is where you have a tremendous amount of instability in the atmosphere, or juice for thunderstorms, juju, food, energy, whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. That's where you have the most. And the storm developed along where that boundary is between a lot of instability and no instability north of that. All right. That happens a lot with warm fronts in the spring and summertime. So the storm kind of traveled this instability gradient. The models didn't have any of this. They had this storm once it developed heading up into Michigan, which is not the case. It follows the boundary. So we knew we were at risk for this, but watch how it just kind of curves down to the south. But you notice what we don't have here. We don't have instability locally, and we also don't have that instability gradient locally. There's nothing down to our south. All the activity and everything is out towards areas of central Illinois, and that's what this was riding. And so I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. Basically, if you were to pull a top, and you were to spin it and let a string go and the top goes flying, right? That's kind of what's happened with this storm. It was spinning real fast at first, but now it's away from the initial force. So it's just going to kind of fall apart. But it's going to take a little bit of time, and that's what we have to deal with here. So this storm is not strengthening. It's gradually weakening. I would expect it to continue to weaken, but it's still packing a punch, especially in that southern part that's going to move into Newton County here over the next half hour to hour, okay? So lots of lightning with us again because it's along a warm front. There's lots of uplift, lots of ice bumping into each other up inside the clouds. But overall, our severe threat is pretty limited here in the region, with the exception being Newton County, where we could see some hail out of this. We've seen golf ball size hail with this. It's still on the order of dime size to nickel size hail. And I would imagine that threat will come into areas of Newton County here again in the next 20 to 30 minutes. And then we'll deal with it as it travels through the county. By the time it gets to Jasper County, at least the worst part of this, I really don't see much of a severe threat left with this. I really expect this storm to weaken as it continues to move off towards the east, okay? But other than that, you're seeing some lightning. I'm seeing a lot of you talking about the lightning flashing going on. Again, storms along a warm front, and that's what this is, tend to be prolific lightning producers. You get some of your best lightning shows out of warm fronts. And that warm air is just baking down to our south. They've got widespread 80s from here all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And that's what this frontal boundary is kind of riding along, okay? So that's what we've got right now. So Newton County, I do think we have a severe threat from this as this moves in from Kankakee County. That severe threat involves hail. There's heavy rain, lots of lightning as well. There's not a ton of wind with this. The wind's a little squirrely with this, so I'm going to keep my eye on any brief tornado threat with this. Again, I really don't see a huge threat, at least for areas of Newton or Jasper County with the tornado threat. But again, the hail threat's going to be there for Newton County, at least initially, okay? So I would say anywhere south of Lowell will have the hail threat with this, all right? So Schneider, Roselawn, Morocco, Lake Village, you would be in the path of some hail. Is it big when it moves in? We'll see. We'll see how this thing holds together. But again, it has been holding its own really for the last 2.5 hours or so. We're seeing heavy rain with this moving into Cedar Lake. You're getting a real good downpour now. You may have small hail in Cedar Lake right now. It's a general moderate to heavy rain. St. John, Maryville. There's another little area of heavy rain in Lake Station that's going towards the Portage area. None of that severe, all right? It's just heavy rain. There's lightning. You may get some very small hail out of it, but I'm not expecting severe. Back into LaPorte County, it's a steady rain right now. The Anvil part of the storm, or the part that goes way up in the atmosphere, is right here where the reds are. And so you get that jet stream. Once it heads up into the atmosphere, 30, 40,000 feet, the jet stream kind of shears it off. And so you see how all the rain is elongated to the north and the east of this. So you're actually under the Anvil part. May even have some Amatis clouds, those bubbly clouds that hang down, but you're literally under the anvil of this entire cumulonimbus complex in areas of Porter and LaPorte County. You're underneath it. So what's that mean for you? It just means a general rainfall. That's it. It's almost like stratiform rain. It's just very basic rain, and you get a lot of lightning as well. As you get back into Lake County, that's where some of the heavier rain is. That's where we start to get a little bit more oomph in this storm. And, this is all south of Maryville, at least the worst part of the storm, as we talked about a little bit earlier. So Crown Point, Cedar Lake, Lowell's going to get into it. Winfield seeing some heavy rain and lightning. And then we pick up a hail threat, and that's going to be from Lowell down to the south, okay? So Lake Village, Roselawn, those are spots I'll be watching in another 20 to 30 minutes or so as this moves in. But is this a huge, robust, severe threat for us tonight? Absolutely not. This is a lone thunderstorm that's producing some large hail, and the weakening phases. At least in my opinion, this thing is going to continue to weaken as it moves in. So rain, lightning, perhaps some hail in our southern counties. That's where we're going to go from there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close it off to questions as of right now. I know you guys are doing a lot of weather chat, which is wonderful. I love that you're sharing conditions with each other. We're going to turn this into, I'll come back to this, we're going to turn this into a Region Weather Live because it's Wednesday and we do them often midweek to get you caught up if there's something coming up this weekend. So I want to talk about this weekend weather because things do change pretty drastically for us once again here in the forecast. So what I'm going to go back to, we're going to go back to forecast mode. First of all, this is kind of the setup across the country right now. This is the system back in the Plain States that is eventually going to rotate in here, and that's going to bring our weekend changes. It's notably colder back in the western U.S. They've got snow widespread across areas of Montana. On the leading edge of this, we've got warm, humid air across the central and southern plains, the Tennessee Valley as well. And you can see the thunderstorms exploding. All of them were waiting on a cap to erode in the atmosphere. Remember, we discussed cap about a week ago, where you get that warm layer of air where clouds rise and they can't go above it. So thunderstorms can't explode into the atmosphere. Well, this cap broke, the warm air went away, and so these storms are exploding out in the Plain States. Pretty similar to what happened with this storm in northern Illinois earlier. But when you see these red colors, those are just explosive cloud tops that are going way up in the atmosphere. They turn very cold, and an infrared satellite picks up that cold air within that cloud, all the moisture droplets that are just ice basically, and it turns it red on the map. So kind of interesting there. So where do we go from here? Well, let's take you through the modeling. We're going to get a little bit closer here so we can see what's going on. And then let me see. I'm actually going to go to something else because we already know what the radar looks like. Okay, so let's go to this. This is short term. This is the latest HRRR model. So where does this storm go? The HRRR's finally picking up on this. It picked up on it earlier, but took it up into areas of Wisconsin, then eventually into Michigan. It did capture that it was traveling along this instability gradient. So this storm, you can see the modeling kind of fizzles it out as well. It brings it in as kind of a weak thunderstorm over the next couple hours. And that's the process we're seeing taking place right now. The storm is weakening. It's getting away from its main source of energy. Out towards the west, those explosive thunderstorms back in Iowa that are ongoing right now, those will continue. They do have a tornado threat out there as well. All that activity looks to stay to our west to start the day tomorrow. All right, so there'll be rain and storms on radar, Wisconsin, Illinois. We should be dry in the morning to start at least your Thursday. As we go throughout the day tomorrow, though, that's when we start to bring in some showers and thunderstorms. And you can see this is along the cold front. This is midday. This is afternoon. We are dealing with some bubble up showers and thunderstorms. Some of them will be in a line segment form as that cold front really gets going. We could see some heavy rain and lightning. Severe threat tomorrow, I think, is on the lower end. I'm not too impressed with it, but we may have a severe thunderstorm or two tomorrow just because this front does have a little potency to it. And then what happens, this whole front kind of stalls. So you see how we're still dealing with rain, despite the fact the rain moves in tomorrow afternoon and evening. We're still dealing with rain all the way through Friday morning as this front kind of elongates. It kind of stalls for a little bit. And then a new wave of low pressure is going to develop down here to the south. Most of that should miss us, but we could see some showers in our southeastern counties on Friday. And then this big pinwheel part, which we just had last weekend with the system, that will kind of rotate in here, bringing some cooler air with it. So the bigger picture, I'm not going to go too big because it's tough to see. But the bigger picture as we go through time, you can see how this front goes by. Here's your next wave of low pressure there. Everything stays kind of southeast of us. And then as we go into the weekend, it's going to be much cooler. And we could have a stray shower or maybe even a flurry around here Saturday night and Sunday. I think most of the moisture associated with this will stay off towards our north. But we turn cooler around here. And we talked about this on Sunday evening in our Region Weather Live, that it looks like once we turn cooler this weekend, we're going to kind of stay cooler for a little while with no big up and down temperature swings, but we're going to be on the chillier side of things. And that carries us through next week. You could see the Euro model indicating maybe a little rain and snow around here Tuesday morning. I don't know if I buy that yet, but we will have this stalled out boundary that's overhead. So I can't rule out some showers. And then this big system down to the south, this one yesterday was further north. So it brought us quite a bit of rain on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But it looks as of right now that it's now been pushed down to the south. So that would keep us dry, but we'd still be on the cool side next week. So no big warm-ups in the forecast, at least into next week, as it looks right now. Okay. So in terms of temperatures, again, we've got the mild air right now. It's pretty nice, let's be honest. But that's all going to change. So you can see right now what we're dealing with, 70s in place. And then here you go tomorrow morning, waking up mild. Tonight's going to be mild because that warm front's going to be north of us. So we're talking 70s once again tomorrow. And then it starts to fall a little bit. We'll be in the 60s by Friday. The cold air still lagging behind with that swirl part of the system. And then that swirl comes in on Saturday, right there where we're stuck in the 40s for highs. And then we stay in the 40s for highs on Sunday. And then notice how we don't really warm up next week. Monday, maybe back into the 50s, but there's no big push of warm air. So there you go. That's next Tuesday, maybe some wind coming off the lake in the 40s, and we kind of just hold there next week. So 40s and 50s look to be the rule next week. All right. So that's kind of what we're dealing with on there. So in terms of this thunderstorm that we've got right now, again, nothing severe for the region as of right now. Kankakee County, they're continuing that severe thunderstorm warning, and that is for hail. I would imagine because that hail is kind of holding in with this. Yeah, let's look. There's still some very large hail falling in areas of Kankakee County. So I would imagine they'll probably extend that severe thunderstorm warning. My guess would be to southern Lake County. So from Lowell, like we talk about south, probably into northern Newton County. That's where our severe threat was since the beginning of this broadcast. So we'll see if they extend that. But I would imagine they will, as that hail will move into Schneider and Lake Village area. And that hail is on the size of golf balls still. So it has flared up a little bit. Just real good hail with this portion of the storm right here, which is moving right into the southern Lake County and northern Newton County borders right now. Okay, that's got the hail. The other thing you're probably noticing with this is there is a little bit of a hook to it. It's got a good radar display on it. Again, the winds have been a little squirrely within the storm system as well. I don't see anything right now that screams that we would have a wall cloud or anything like that. Let me just take another look at this. Yeah, I don't see anything too weird with it right now. But again, we got to keep a close eye on this storm as it continues out towards the east because there is some good inflow in this, producing that little hook you see on the bottom. All right. So northern Newton County, again, you've got a pretty, you know what? They just issued that severe thunderstorm warning. So there you go. And they extended it perfectly into the area that we're talking about since the beginning of the broadcast. I just love that. It's my favorite thing. Melanie just got the warning as well. So very good. And yeah, Rob, that's what we're looking at right now. He says, looks like a hook on the southern end. It's had a real good presentation with it over the course of the afternoon. I mean, again, this thing's been going for 2.5 hours now, and it's riding the warm front. And anytime you get a storm that's riding a warm front, you have wind coming in at two different directions, so they can get a little weird as they travel along that boundary, which already has conflicting wind with it. All right. It's not like a cold front. It's a different setup with this. It's a little bit different, and you can get some squirrely storms out of it. So as of right now, again, if you're just joining us, there's no severe threat whatsoever for northern Lake County, central Lake County. You're okay. Porter and LaPorte counties, there's no severe threat from this. It's just rain. You get a lot of lightning with this as well. That's it. Maybe some small hail. I'm not too worried, though. All right. The biggest threat is going to be southern Lake County. So from Lowell down towards the south. That includes I-65. That also includes Morocco and Brook. And then especially honing in on northern Newton County, where this hail core is. That's where this portion of the storm is going to go. That's, you know what, that actually is probably going to miss Morocco. So that's going to be more of Lake Village, Roselawn, and Schneider area. Okay. And this storm right here, this portion of the storm is the part that we're concerned with because it's producing hail. And there's still some pretty big hail with it. Lowell, you're getting some pretty good rain right now, probably some small hail. Cedar Lake, it's just rain for you. It's coming down really good right now, though. Heavy rain is about to move into the Hebron area. I don't see real big hail threat for you in Hebron. You're just north of where this warning is, but you'll probably get some heavy rain, maybe some small hail with it. This is all heading towards DeMont. We'll see if it holds together with this. But again, the biggest threat right now to me is Schneider and Lake Village, and then eventually Roselawn. And that threat would be hail with this, okay, on the order of golf balls. Not fun by any means, all right? Not a good time to go golfing either. So we've got 34 more minutes on our new severe thunderstorm warning, which got issued for, again, southern Lake County, northern Newton County. Other than that, there's not a lot going on weather-wise with the storm system. So I'll go back to the satellite and radar. We'll zoom on in a little bit more so you can kind of see what's happening with all these storms. And here's this storm, this lone storm. You know what? I'm going to go back quite a ways. I'm going to go back to where this developed earlier today. So this is today, and watch this storm develop. That's it right there. And see the warm front sitting right in here. Okay, the warm front boundary goes like this. So once this storm popped right here along the warm front, just watch how it travels, and it kind of curves. See how it kind of builds down to the south? And that's what we're dealing with right now. Whole thing is starting to weaken a little bit because that instability, as I talked about earlier, is back in here. All these brighter colors you see, that's where all of the heat, the humidity, and the atmospheric energy to produce thunderstorms is, all right? And these storms have been forming along that instability gradient where it goes from unstable air to not unstable air, or very stable air. And it's getting away from that right now. So that's why I continue to think the storm's going to weaken as it comes in. But it's still packing a punch. So southern Lake County, northern Newton County, prepare for a good storm. I mean, there's some large hail still falling within this. It's still a very powerful storm. It's defied the models so far. Models had it weakening and moving up towards Chicago, up into Wisconsin and Michigan earlier. And it's kind of surviving on its own right now as it travels south and east, which is not a projection any of the models had, but it's traveling that boundary. It's traveling the warm front as well. Okay. We've got a pretty decent storm outside of this. And again, that's for that northern part that we're watching through the Crown Point area. There's just some heavier rain with it. Well, that heavy rain's gotten a little bit heavier, and that's about to move into the Hebron area. Lakes of the Four Seasons, you're dealing with rain right now. It'll get heavier here in the next 5 minutes. Even in Valparaiso, there's some good lightning and rain with this. I don't see a severe threat with any of that. It's just the southern portion of the storm that's carrying that severe threat in my mind. But still, you're getting a decent thunderstorm in some of those areas that stretch all the way up into the Chesterton area, just some general rain. There's lightning with this, a little bit of lightning back towards LaPorte County as well. The bulk of the lightning is in central Porter County down into central and southern Lake County. That's where you're seeing most of the lightning from this. So northern areas of Lake County, northern Porter County, you're hearing the rumbles of thunder. All this is down to your south. In LaPorte County, there's just not a lot of instability at all. So there's really not a lot of lightning ongoing in LaPorte County right now. But it's the southern little flank of the storm that just continues to pack a punch. I mean, this is a decent looking thunderstorm right in here where you get some of these pinks starting to show up. That's where that hail is. The radar beam goes out. It bounces off of, what it thinks are raindrops. But they're hailstones, which are bigger than raindrops. So it comes back and reflects a brighter color. So anytime you see brighter colors in storms, especially along warm fronts, you tend to have some really good hail. And we can also look at the hail radar as well. I'll show that to you. Here it is. I forgot we had that product on this radar. I'm used to using my radar scope product. So this isn't usually the radar product I use. And so I'm slightly uncomfortable with it because it doesn't show me anything but, just the radar. That's it, but that's okay. It works. So this is the hail within the storm, and you can see how it's kind of pulsed up and down a little bit. Whenever it gets to the reds, which it was one scan ago, that's when I was talking about it. That's when you get the golf ball size hail, and we certainly have had that. And you can see how it's just now crossing into the border, across the Illinois border, into the Schneider area. Lake Village, you're not even seeing rain yet, but you're hearing the thunder rumbling from the storm, and you have the dark clouds moving in. Probably another 5 minutes or so for you in Lake Village before you get hit with not just some heavy rain, but perhaps some gusty winds, and then that hail is going to come with it as well. So this is the only spot seeing the hail. We do have some smaller hail off towards the north as you get up towards the Lowell area. Hebron, again, you might get a little taste of some small hail with this, but the biggest hail and the biggest threat from the storm consequently is down towards the south of that. All right. A couple other cool things we can look at. These are your echo tops. So this is basically how tall the clouds are. And remember, the taller cloud is, the bigger and more structured the thunderstorm is. So the yellows that you're seeing in here, getting into some of these kind of darker orange colors, we're talking 38 to 42,000 feet in the atmosphere. So that is a good old-fashioned summertime, late springtime thunderstorm. And that tells you, whenever a storm gets really high in the atmosphere, that tells you you've got enough atmospheric heat going up and a long ways to make for a pretty decent thunderstorm. So that tells you you've got a pretty decent amount of lift with this. And that's what we're seeing right now. These are very big cloud tops. We saw them move in this evening. These storms bellowed in Illinois and they went up into the atmosphere. The jet stream took that and blew it over us. So we saw the clouds come in first and we're like, oh, it's cloudy all of a sudden. And that's off of these thunderstorms. It's gotten darker and darker. I know a lot of you are seeing that right now. So pretty interesting how all that's kind of come together here. So in terms of this thunderstorm, again, we're going to continue to watch the hail threat from this. I'm going to continue to keep my eye on the wind within this as well. Again, the southern little flank of this is a little bit squirrely. There's no big, indication of, a tornado or anything like that with this. It's hail. It's a strong thunderstorm. It's packing a punch, and we're going to see that down towards the south. Okay, a lot of people saying tornado sirens going off in Lowell right now. So that could be just because we have a bad thunderstorm coming in. In Lowell itself, I see no threat for a tornado right now. All right. I know a lot of jurisdictions tend to do the sirens when there's a bad storm coming in to tell you, remember, tornado sirens aren't for inside. They're for if you're caught outside. And perhaps you don't know that a big storm's coming and you're outside. They tend to run the sirens when there's not a tornado, but there's a big storm coming, whether it be severe with strong winds or hail. And that seems to be the case with this because I do not see a tornado threat at all for Lowell right now. In fact, if there was one, it would be a little bit further south down towards Lake Village and Roselawn, and I don't see one there either. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. I do not see a tornado threat in Lowell right now, despite the fact your sirens are going off. Okay, I think it's just because it's a bad storm moving in with some hail. Okay, so let's just make that clear off the front. And it's always tough to say that when the tornado sirens are going off and you're kind of going counter to that. So this is our storm right now. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit closer here. So there we go. So here's Lowell right in here. If there's a tornado threat, it's this bottom part of the storm right here. Okay, this is simply rain. I don't see any winds doing anything weird from Cedar Lake to even Schneider. Lake Village, you've got a little rotation over you right now. I don't see anything too crazy with that. Again, storms rotate all the time. Just because it's rotating doesn't mean it's abnormal. What we look for is that real tight rotation. And I absolutely do not see that in Lowell at all. Okay, I see no tornado threat for you, despite your sirens going off. You have lightning, you've got heavy rain. And in terms of the hail, let me check my latest hail radar here. In terms of the hail, I think the worst hail is going to miss you in Lowell as well. Most of that's going to be down towards the south. So our big hail core, which has actually shrunk a little bit, that's good. We're probably down to nickel-size hail. That is now moving into Schneider and Lake Village. It's going to be approaching the I-65 corridor in probably about 15 minutes or so. So that would include you in Roselawn. You're going to be in the path of some of this hail as it moves in. But I do not see a tornado threat or even a big hail threat for Lowell right now. Okay. You've got a good old-fashioned thunderstorm. It's raining cats and dogs right now. You've got some thunder and lightning. Other than that, the worst of the storm is just south of you. Okay. And it's going to stay south of you. So hope that helps. Okay. Yeah, Jay, I just saw your comment. Can you show the inflow outflow winds with the storm? I certainly can, Jay. Let's see which one has a better presentation. Storm relative usually does. Base might have a better one in this case. Yeah, the base, I like the base a little bit better here. That takes the storm motion out of it, which is the only thing that's missing. But these are your winds, okay, within the storm. This isn't a real, I'm so used to radar scope. I don't have radar scope on my work computers. All right. I'm not allowed to have them. Okay. We can't have any extra apps. So that's that. So this works. Okay. So the presentation isn't very good on these Nexrad radars anyway, but it gets the point across. Okay. Just because we don't have the bells and whistles. So what you're looking at here, whenever you have green on the radar, so we're looking inside the thunderstorm, we're looking at wind. This just shows wind within storms. When you look at green on a radar, that is wind that is going towards the radar site. Okay. Your radar site's back here in Romeoville. So the wind here in the green part of the storm is going this way, back towards the radar site. red is going away from the radar. So all this red is wind that's coming out from the thunderstorm, okay? If this white portion of the storm is where the rain is falling, this makes sense. You've got rain falling that brings air to the ground. The air goes outward. So on the west side of where the rain's falling, the wind is going west. On the east side, it's going east, right? It's blowing out from that rain that's falling. What we look for as meteorologists are tight little pockets of rotation. I have not seen that with the storm system yet. It's gotten a little squirrely. You can see back towards the west, we did have some reds and greens mixing, indicating there was some rotation. But again, storms rotate all the time. If I were to show you every storm that was rotating in the country right now, you'd lose your mind. I mean, we'd spend all night just doing that. And in this case, I haven't seen anything super tight. I continue to keep my eye on it, but I don't see any really imminent tornado threat with this at all. I mean, I still don't. In fact, it's looking even better right now. And I don't, I mean, the atmosphere is not really structured for tornadoes out of this. It's structured for hail. And that's what we're seeing. So I just looked at the latest scan here on my high-res radar scope, which is this baby. And we're fine, guys. There's gusty winds with this, but I don't see anything tornadic related, okay? So hope that helps. In terms of the hail, though, that's really the biggest threat from this. I really don't think this threat's going to last a whole lot longer. But you can see that hail as it moves in. See some of the reds peaking there. Let's go back to this and look. See where it is right now. I would imagine it's in Schneider. Yeah, it's in Schneider right now. And then Lake Village, you're probably just now starting to get into the hail portion of this. I don't see anything too crazy big. Could be on the size of dime to nickel size. So we've lost the golf ball status with this. But there's still a pretty good hail core coming into Lake Village right now. That will extend over into Roselawn. Okay. Lowell, you're fine. Maybe some small hail right now. That's it. Everything south of you, you're sitting right here on radar. So notice the hail threat south of you. You're getting some rain out of it. We'll go back to the radar. Remember, this radar just shows rain. Okay. It shows how heavy the rain is. And we've got a good wallop of rain, but remember, some of that's mixed with hail. So those red colors tend to kind of outdo themselves a little bit. Let me go back to radar on mine here. Yeah, I mean, it's a wall of heavy rain as of right now with some hail. Schneider Lake Village, Roselawn, this storm is really close to you. It's encroaching. You notice it's getting darker, thunder and lightning, obviously getting closer as well. DeMont, you're really close to it as well as it continues its southeastern track. A real good hit of some hail, some heavy rain and lightning. But other than that, I don't see anything too crazy with this, all right? If you are in Newton County and you're in Morocco, Brook, you're probably not going to get a drop of rain from this. We'll see what develops west of this, but I think this stays north of you. This is mainly a central and northern Newton County problem. It's going to head into Jasper County here shortly. We'll see if it holds together. Remember, we're getting away from the instability on this, so we're starting to lose a lot of that energy that feeds this storm, and I really think the storm is going to start to weaken and just become rain and lightning before it just becomes rain and then goes away. Okay. So, we have to look down the road to this. Rensselaer, I'm not too sure you get rain out of this. The storm's going to clip just off towards your north as we're forward thinking here. DeMont, Wheatfield, you're going to get some rain and lightning from this. Roselawn, I think you're going to get the biggest impact from this as we go forward. You're going to get what pretty much Schneider and Lake Village is getting right now, which is some heavy rain, some lightning, some hail. We've still got pretty good hail falling, probably in Lake Village right now. Schneider, you're in it as well. Lowell, it's just rain for you right now. I don't even see a severe threat for you right now. Everything south of you, you're okay. You'll be all right there. Cedar Lake, Crown Point, it's just rain. There's some lightning. Everything's down to your south. The system's moving away from you. Up towards Maryville, Hobart, you're fine. There's occasional lightning strikes, so stay inside, but it's just a general light rain that's going to continue to lighten up. Back in areas of Porter County, Hebron, you're getting hit pretty decently right now. It's not severe, but you've got heavy rain and some wind and some decent lightning. Couts, this is going to move in with some downpours here in the next 5 minutes for you. Valpo, you continue to get some decent rain out of this. Occasional lightning strikes here and there, but nothing severe. I don't see a severe threat out of this for you. LaPorte County, there's no threat of severe weather. Your instability's just off the charts low right now. So it's just a general rain with some lightning strikes. But the lightning strikes are down towards the Wanata and the Hannah and La Crosse area. up into LaPorte, there's no lightning with this at all. Michigan City, no lightning. There's just not a lot of instability out there, and you're getting kind of the feedback off of the storm. So storm goes up in the atmosphere, jet stream blows it. You get kind of the leftovers that get tossed, 100 miles out towards the east. Okay, so the most potent part of the storm right now is northern Newton County and southern areas of Lake County. And even Lake County, you can almost be cleared from the severe thunderstorm warning. There's still some very heavy rain and some hail in there as well. Okay, so let's go back to hail. Let's go back to hail on here as well to take a look here at what we've got. And we still are seeing some hail with this. So you can see how it's just kind of holding its own. That little flare up you see right there is right near Lake Village. Seeing some pretty decent hail right now, I would imagine. Dime to nickel size, I would guess. Lowell, again, the hail is south of you. Schneider, you've got some hail right now, probably dime size. This is all heading towards Roselawn. A little bit of appendage coming out of this out towards areas of Illinois and Hopkins Park. That may clip Morocco. Maybe. I still think it'll stay north, but it's right on the edge of the storm. So remember, that storm's going to clip Morocco just to the north. You may have a little bit of hail with that. It may even be outside of the rain portion of the storm, which wouldn't that be weird? Yeah, because that hail is a little bit outside of the rain. That's interesting because it's just interesting. We'll see what happens there. But in terms of the storm, again, northern Newton County is really where it's at right now, okay? If you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in chat. I'd be happy to answer some of those right now. Melissa, you're absolutely welcome for the reassurance. I don't know why they continue to do the sirens as well. A lot of times, and again, sirens are made for if you're outdoors. They're not supposed to tell you if there's bad weather if you're indoors. Okay, they're for all those people that are outdoors. A lot of times, and it's to no one's fault. A lot of times you have someone running these sirens that is not in touch with a meteorologist, or they're just instructed to do it anytime there's a severe thunderstorm warning. They're instructed to run the sirens, which I think is kind of counterintuitive in terms of, sirens are supposed to go off if there's a tornado, okay? I could see it if there's 80, 90 mile per hour winds coming in with a squall line because that could produce tornado-like damage. In this case with this storm, I don't know why the sirens are going off. It's just hail. There's not a huge wind threat from this. There's not a tornado threat, so real interesting on that. And especially in Lowell, where you have a population and there's nothing, the storm south of you, it's been south of you since the beginning of this broadcast, 37 minutes ago, I've been saying from Lowell south, all right? So I don't know where they're getting that information from. I think it's deceiving. But the whole point is that if you're outside, you get inside. And I guess, that'll get you inside. And that's what's important out of this. Okay. Let's see. Sirens still going crazy. My goodness. Yeah, guys, forget the sirens. You're inside. You're safe. You're fine. There's no tornado threat for you in Lowell. All right. I'm just going to check again because this is driving me nuts. No, there's nothing. There's some stronger winds starting to develop, and I would expect that because this whole storm structure is starting to collapse a little bit. Okay, it's weakening. So what happens is you have everything that's lofted up in this big storm that's been going for 2.5 hours, and now that it's starting to collapse, it's literally that. There's more sinking air than rising air within the storm. So that sinking air can bring some stronger winds down to the surface as the whole storm kind of sinks. So we do have some gustier winds starting to develop. Nothing on the order of tornadoes or anything like that, okay? Valpo, you're probably seeing some stronger wind gusts right now in pockets. That stretches through the Hebron area. Pretty good wind gusts back towards the Grant Park area and areas of eastern Illinois too, okay? Kim, thank you for that update. Storm is now hitting DeMont. No hail as of yet, but plenty of lightning and thunder. Let's go back to what the storm looks like again. Here we go, and I'm going to zoom in on my radar off to the side here and take a look at the hail threat for DeMont. All right, so let's dive in here. You do have a little pocket of small hail coming in. It's going to be real tiny, Kim. It's going to be cute hail. All right, this isn't the kind that damages anything. So you probably have pea-size hail moving in. I would imagine, depends on what side of DeMont you're on, but I would imagine another minute or two, you'll probably have some pea-size hail moving in. The hail gets a little bigger. Lake Village, probably still dime-size hail with this. There's a pocket just south and west of you with dime or nickel-size hail. But other than that, I don't see a lot of hail with this. The hail core has really shrunk up a little bit as this storm continues to weaken. Okay. Jeff says, the storm just moved out of Dyer. Lots of lightning, some rain. Yeah, good. It is a good lightning show. It really is. We're seeing lightning up to Valparaiso, basically. Wanata's seeing some lightning. Dumont lightning with this. The most lightning right now is still centered over Southern Lake in northern Newton County, right over where that hail core is. Lots of ice going on in that as well. So there's that. Loud thunder in Wheatfield. Jacqueline, thank you. It's interesting. Thunder is Kim's laughing at my cute hail comment. And Brett's on here as well. Hi, Brett. Don't worry about these sirens in Lowell. I don't know what they're doing. You're not even included in the severe thunderstorm warning anymore. The severe thunderstorm warning's been moved on from you now. Okay, you were clipped by it earlier, then they shrunk it down to the south. So there's no severe weather threat for Lowell right now. All right, I don't know what's up with the sirens. Thank you guys for letting me know. Please write your local legislators and tell them to get on region weather. All right. I mean, that's driving me nuts. Yeah. Please don't be scared. There's no tornado threat. There's no severe thunderstorm threat anymore for Lowell. Okay. The storm is south of you. You've got rain with some occasional lightning, and that's it. Okay. That's it. All right. Just read Jeff's comment. Oh, that's great, Jeff. It does happen. That's funny. I mean, they could have an intern working today. I don't know. Erin says we've got our 12-year-old listening because she doesn't believe us that we're good here in Lowell. Erin and 12-year-old daughter, son, whoever it is, you guys are completely fine. All right. The severe part is south of you. Lake Village is not fine. They've got some hail and heavy rain right now. But for you, it's just a gentle rainfall. If you look outside right now, you've got lightning every now and then. You've got rainfall, but there's no severe weather over you, and there's none coming. It's all going away from you, okay? And again, the way I explain this, there are some kids that watch our region weather broadcasts. The way I explain it to kids in our weather school visits that we do is that doctors know the different parts of your body, right? You know the different parts of your body. You know where your heart is. You know where your legs are, okay? You know where your elbows are, okay? You got that down. Meteorologists can look at storms, and we can go inside that storm and tell you where the dangerous parts of the storm are. All right. And as clear as day, we can tell you if there's going to be a tornado threat from a portion. We can tell you where the hail is, where it's going. And if you have experience, which I'm now 15 years in, of looking at radars and studying radars and doing radar analysis, I can tell you where this stuff is going and how it's going to behave. However, and again, I'm humble as can be. This morning, I didn't promise you, but I forecasted that we would stay dry today. Okay, so that's on me. All right, this lone thunderstorm has broken my my streak, and we are getting wet today. And this is that warm front that just kind of stuck up. So I was wrong there. All right, but in terms of this, Aaron or Emma, thank you, Emma. You're fantastic as well. There's nothing to worry about. Yes, Pam, you're welcome. They may have stopped, but yeah. Here we go again. Boy, they're going again, huh? Pam says the sirens are going again, lol. Mark, that's awesome. I'm trying to keep up with your comments. You guys are commenting too fast. That's good. Okay, let's get back to radar analysis. So again, in Lowell, I don't know why your sirens are going off. There is no reason for it whatsoever. Your tornado threat is this. It's 0, okay? I can understand if a severe thunderstorm warning is moving in, which is what we had. You were never in the path of the severe thunderstorm. You were on the edge of the warning, but they have to draw the line somewhere. The worst of it was south of you. The worst of it continues to be south of you, okay? Where do we have a problem right now? This is now getting into northern areas of Jasper County as well. It's not severe, but it's a decent storm. So Demont, a lot of you have been commenting on there. It's a decent storm in Demont right now. Wheatfield, same for you. The storm system's about to move in. It's in Demont right now. It's about to hit Wheatfield. What you'll see with that, you'll get some heavy rain. You'll have some gusty winds with it. Again, it's not severe, nothing to worry about. There's some good lightning with this. All that moves in to Wheatfield probably in another 2-3 minutes or so, okay? The heavy rain extends up to Couts. Nothing severe there either, but we are seeing some heavy rain. You have some lightning. We have a little bit of hail near Demont as well. But by and large, the worst part of the storm is this portion right here, which is in northern Newton County. And what we're seeing here is some development on the backside back here. So that this is really the portion I'd be concerned with in terms of hail and a severe thunderstorm threat. And that's where a severe thunderstorm warning is right now. It's in extreme southern Lake County, which we're probably close. Let me check the latest hail radar. Yeah, so southern Lake County, I know you're still under that warning, but I would clear you out. I think you're fine. So Schneider, you're still getting heavy rain. Your hail's gotten smaller. This system's outbound from you. So I would probably, and not that they need to do this because they'll let it run, but I would probably end that severe thunderstorm warning for southern Lake County. I think you're in the clear in terms of severe weather. You're still getting a thunderstorm. But northern Newton County, that's where the action is right now. So Lake Village, seeing some decent hail right now. You've got heavy rain. This is now starting to move into Roselawn. We're starting to see the downpour pick up. You're going to have some hail there shortly as well. As we look at the hail again, yeah, we've probably got nickel-size hail falling in the Lake Village area, just south of town especially. Roselawn, you're probably going to be dealing with some dime-size hail here shortly. So, potent storm. Is it, I don't know. Do we need to run the sirens? No, we don't. But still a decent storm. Randy, thank you for that update. Jeez, Nancy. Randy's in the Schneider area, says no hail yet. The hail threat, if you haven't had it yet there, Randy, I think you're going to lose it because most of it is south of you now. It kind of clipped your area. I mean, we had some decent pockets of it around you. Depends on where you live in town. But everything's south and east of you right now. So may have some very small hail that maybe you can't tell is mixing in with the raindrops. You've still got heavy rain, still decent lightning show going on. But in terms of what we've got in terms of hail for you, Randy, it looks like we've cleared out in Schneider. Okay, your biggest threat is going to be south and east. But we still have, again, Lake Village and Roselawn. Those are the two right now that are seeing some decent hail with this, in addition to some very heavy rain. And sometimes it's tough to tell. Sometimes you can't see hail that's falling with raindrops because the raindrops are coming down so much and you'll have hailstones in there. And a lot of times, I mean, what we're looking at on radar when we pull up the hail, let me show it to you again. We'll go back to our hail radar. A lot of times what you're looking at here, and actually all the time what you're looking at here is hail up inside the clouds. So our radar beam's back here in Romeoville. So it's coming out with the Earth's curvature. The radar beam doesn't shoot here at the surface where we drive and live. Okay, that would probably cause problems. All right. The radar beam's shooting up into the clouds. Okay. So a lot of times you get the thunderstorm up above you that's dropping hail. And as that hail's falling, the radar's seeing the hail. But if you have warmer temperatures, which is what we have, a lot of that hail will even shrink in size before it hits the ground. Okay. So that's kind of what I throw into analysis when I'm looking at a hail radar. I'll see hail on radar that's saying, hey, this is golf ball or even, baseball size hail. But I will factor before I say it to you, the fact that a lot of it's probably melting before it hits the ground. So I usually go down a size when I'm talking about it. So what I'm seeing in Lake Village is golf ball size hail, but I realize that's up in the cloud. So it's probably nickel size hail when it hits, or quarter size. Okay. Hope that makes sense. It's just kind of some inside baseball regarding all that. Some small hail in Couts, DeMont, Wheatfield, probably going to get some small hail as well. That main hail core is right over the Lake Village area, though. You can see it here. This is a small hail out here. Some of these yellows, that's where the larger hail is. Okay. Not always fun to talk about hail. I know tornadoes are a lot more fun to talk about and more interesting, at least verbally. But some of the things that you can do, hail is just not fun in general. Not that tornadoes are either. But your hail, if you're out ahead of this, Roselawn, it's a little too late right now. But if you're in Jasper County, I would say anywhere away from where the lightning's close. So Rensselaer, for example, Wheatfield, you're a little too close. This is pretty rural out there. But one of the things you might want to do is just bring the car in. Whenever there's a hail threat, bring the car in if it's out for some reason. Okay. All right, so let's go back to your comments again. I'm seeing more siren comments. Oh, Ann, I like this. I agree. Matt should contact City Council and ask them about the management of the sirens. Tell them to tune in the region weather. I mean, that's not a joke. I may not have time to do all that, though. That's the problem. But we'll see. I do think that's very deceiving, though, to be running the siren when it's like this. Okay. Bob, bring the company truck in, or maybe better yet, maybe not. That's funny. Let's see. Here we go. Brett, I like your comment. I really do. I get along with that. Michael, you guys are great on the sirens here. Okay, Caitlin says, while you're already live, can you give us a quick look at the forecast for the rest of the week? Caitlin, I can tell you're on your A game. We actually did that at the beginning of this broadcast. I said we'd turn it into a region weather live because we've got some stuff coming up this weekend. So we'll see. Natalie, I've heard a couple of people say that in terms of the sirens going off. Thanks for letting me know. I do appreciate that. So I appreciate that. Oh, BCY, thank you, buddy. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Okay, let's briefly jump away from this. Let me make sure there's not a sudden tornado threat in Lowell, okay? Let me see. Nope, still no threat. In fact, your rain's getting lighter right now. Still good rain. Roselawn's getting it right now. The wind, I don't see anything weird with wind. Guys, we're good. I think we're even losing the severe threat to this. Northern Newton County, they may extend this into Jasper County. This would be the northern half of the county, probably from DeMont to Wheatfield, but everything north of Rensselaer. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We may get that warning issued here in a little bit. But this storm continues to weaken. All right, let's jump into this. This is going to be for Caitlin. Okay, we're going to jump into the what we normally do on our region weather lives. Also, I forgot to mention this. It's storm coverage, so I like to get right into it. But above me are all of our wonderful sponsors. Okay, I cannot be more proud of a group of businesses in Northwest Indiana or nonprofits like St. Jude House. Guys, please support them. Lance's Lawn Care is our newest one on here. If you guys need anything done with your lawn, he and his team, Lance and his team, do wonderful work. A couple of you have already used them. They do landscaping. They don't just mow lawns. All right, anything you need with your yard, feel free to use them. And then Ewing's our other one on there that's fairly new. HVAC related stuff, guys. They're a family-owned business that deals with furnaces and indoor atmosphere. That's, as a meteorologist, I like to put it that way. But please take care of them. They're all great, I promise. 5-star reviews on all of them. You can't go wrong, and they're all local. So there's that. Okay, so I appreciate that. All right, here we go. So as we jump into the future radar here, I kind of want to show you what we've got in terms of radar and kind of where this stuff goes from here and where the rain goes from here. So we've got some rain around over the next couple of days. Okay, this is all with a cold front. So tomorrow is going to be our bigger threat for showers and thunderstorms. Is there a big severe threat tomorrow? I don't really see it. I don't think there's enough push. The system's kind of stalling out as it moves in. So I think we get rain. I think we'll have heavy rain at times. This is mainly tomorrow afternoon, and this is with the front. The front kind of stalls up for a second while a new wave of low pressure develops. So what that means for us, we'll get rain, and then it's going to kind of hold in here tomorrow night. So Friday morning, we still may be waking up with some showers from that same line that kind of moved in and stalled and then kind of moved on out. So Friday, we may start with some rain, and then the system gets a little push, and it's out of here. Problem is, with that push, we'll start to turn cooler. So Friday, we don't have cold air here yet. We'll likely be in the 60s, turning cooler later in the evening. But then Saturday's just kind of raw. This whole low pressure kind of wraps in. We'll have temperatures that don't get out of the 40s. For the most part, it looks dry right now. The swirl's going to be just off towards our north, so we may have a shower, maybe a snow shower Saturday night. It's just cooler Saturday, okay? And unfortunately, that's for your weekend. Sunday's cooler too. And then we kind of stay there. We're going to stay, as of right now, it looks like a lot of 40s and 50s in the forecast into next week. And the good news is it looked like a washout yesterday on the model run with a series of storm systems. They had them going through, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. The good news is the Euro in most modeling has pushed it south as of today. So that means next week is not a washout. It's just cooler. All right. So that's kind of where we stand. Okay. So severe threat tomorrow. Again, I'm not that impressed with it, but we will have some thunderstorms around tomorrow as the system moves in. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's go back to our radar again. And I think we've got, I don't know if they're going to extend the severe thunderstorm warning. It just, the time is up on it. So we'll see if the National Weather Service does that. But if not, I'm going to let you go if this is not severe. Let's look at a couple things here. Let's look at the wind real quick. I don't see any wind problems with this. The hail is still flaring up. It's not as bad as earlier. It's getting smaller still. So The biggest hail core with this is just south of Roselawn right now, right in this little chunk of red right there. So it's getting ready to cross over I-65 probably right about now. And that would be in Newton County. And this is going to cross over into Jasper County here shortly. But I don't even think that hail's severe limits right now. It's probably on the order of dime size, maybe even pea-size hail with that, probably dime size, just south of Roselawn. Still getting a little bit of hail back towards Lake Village, very small. Probably don't notice it, Roselawn as well. Other than that, it's just a rain story right now. It's just very heavy rain with this. I'm keeping my eye on this little appendage back towards the west, but even that doesn't look like anything too crazy right now, just some more heavy rain. So that will prolong your rain in Schneider. That will prolong the rain in Lake Village. The main system's pushed out, but you've got the secondary one coming in, so you'll get another downpour out of this with some lightning. There's still pretty good lightning, but our lightning's actually dwindled a little bit within this entire line. We're now seeing strikes as far north as the Kingsbury area by Westville, just southwest of LaPorte. So we're getting occasional lightning strikes within this. Heavy rain moving in the wheat field. La Crosse, Coutts still getting rain. St. Pierre, you're going to get some rain here shortly. But guys, overall, I don't see anything severe, and they dropped the warning. So that's good. I don't see anything severe with this right now. Those in Lowell, though, you might want to keep an eye on. I'm just kidding. Everything's fine in Lowell. All right. Hopefully the sirens have stopped now so you guys can get some sleep a little bit later on this evening. My goodness. Okay, guys, I guess that's about it. I guess, boy, time flies. We've gone for an hour live here. So that's that. I hope this helped. And I hope we answered all your questions here in terms of getting us through. This storm's going to continue south and east. It's going to continue to weaken up a little bit. All right. Again, it's getting away from its main source. This is a good old soaker for all of our gardens that we haven't put anything in yet, I hope, because it's going to get cold next week. But I hope they're ready to go because, boy, these spring-like weather, these little bursts we've been getting have been great. Okay, so this is going to traverse south, so Newton, Jasper County. You're going to get some heavy rain out of this. It's just a thunderstorm, though, okay? There's nothing crazy. Again, there's some hail with this that's going to push into Jasper County. Don't be surprised if you get some hail. If we do get another warning, it's probably going to be because that hail flared up to severe limits again. But I really don't see this lasting much longer, okay? I think the whole thing is going to head southeast and just turn into rain with some lightning, and that's pretty much what it is right now, okay? All right. Well, I think that's about it for you guys. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday night, a special edition of Region Weather Live, and we'll keep you updated. I'll have my eye on the radar, and we'll pass along anything you need to know here the rest of the evening, okay? All right. Have a good night.